Welcome everyone to The Writing Life. I'm Stephen W. Long. A little bit different show today. We always talk about aspects of writing, including lyric writing or songwriting. And I'm lucky enough to have three friends in the studio today who are going to do a little jamming, a little beat poet reading, I hope, guys. And so we're actually recording the new intro and outro for the show. And I call these guys friends, and I wanted to take just a minute to tell you about them and how we got to know each other. And I'm going to start with Mike Santenay. And I have to say, Mike is really the inspiration for this show. This is really your baby, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, in fact, I think we started the first couple shows
together. You did, we did, that's right. And I met you 7 years ago, kind of. You were president, I think, of AYC. The Arts Alliance, and had many hats. You were also the editor of the newsletter, and
which you took over.
Which I took over, and
I've been passing all kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, thank you. What would I do without you?
Yeah.
And actually, and Mike was my mentor in that regard as well. So, so good to have you here. Also, you sort of, this may embarrass you a little bit, I hope, but you sort of swept the Paper Gardens the writing competition or writing event, and we're gonna have you on the show to talk about that sometime.
Yeah, that was, I coordinated it for years and always wondered what it'd be like to stand up there and read a poem.
Right.
And then last year I got a chance to do that.
And I think more than the poem, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a short story.
Yeah, great. Well, we'll get you on for that. So thank you. And Mike, you're going to play the clarinet.
I am. I have a flute too, but I don't know if we're going to get to that.
Oh, did you bring it?
And yeah.
Okay. Well,
and I'm going to read some poems.
Great. Okay. And Bob Zahnizer is a good friend. Bob and I are in a critique group together, Easy Writers. And Bob, you're internationally published.
That's true.
That's true. We brag about that. And you're going to do some work as well.
Yeah.
Or read some work.
My own stuff.
Now, something that I think you're known for your poetry, but you're also a playwright.
Yeah, but I haven't had any produced yet.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still hoping.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
I want to brag about Bob a little bit. Each of the people in our critique group, I think, have a skill, maybe an area that they look at. Maybe it's punctuation. But
That's not my area.
No, but I can always count on you for emotional honesty. And I think that's what when I bring something in and I get your critique, that's what I'm looking for. And me especially, I think, but you keep us on track and say, well, people don't act like that. You know, that's not consistent with that character. And I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh.
And you're going to be doing little bongos today?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah, and reading as well.
Yeah.
And Tom Alfson, and Tom, I don't know if you remember, I met you because you were my first cover photo for the Arts Alliance newsletter.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And
I remember you coming out and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was the first
it was the first one.
Yeah, cool.
I can't remember the young lady who was the photographer, but we were out there together and took the picture.
Yeah.
And you had found a piece of driftwood, I think,
Yep.
and embellished that with turquoise and copper
And shell and
Yeah.
mica schist and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
It was a piece of driftwood from Silet's Bay.
Okay. You know what one of the things I notice about artists is, and I think all you guys qualify, certainly you do, Tom. We have a friend, Dee Boyles, who is a local artist. And I noticed that you just have an artist eye. That you when you see something where somebody else would see firewood, you see art.
Yeah, I saw an eagle and a whale.
Yeah. So happy to have you guys here. Really appreciate it, and I admire what you do.
Good to be here.
In the various areas.
Well, it's nice to be here too. I mean, having a show like this is a real, cultural asset to be able to say because there's a very vibrant writing community here in McMinnville
You bet.
and the area, and to have you interviewing the authors and showing that's great.
And Bob, thanks for bringing that up, because you two guys are in another group as well. You want to just say a word about that?
The Working Writers Workshop.
Yeah.
Second Mondays at the library.
Okay.
And we've been going it's probably 5 years old now.
Okay. This will initially be broadcast locally, and I wanted to let everybody know we're in McMinnville, Oregon. At some point, it will be on YouTube, and so when they
I'll be all
are
over.
in Moscow, Russia, and say, "Boy, I sure wish I was there instead," it's McMinnville, Oregon. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm going to shut up and let you jam a little bit, and thank you again so much for.
Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the music, and we had a little prelude here, and I just love what you're doing. So, thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, read something for us.
All right. Let's see. This is a poem called Liberating Starbucks. It starts slow and sweet, a long drawn-out stretch on the sax. The chanteuse joins in without words, just blue notes. The guitarist picks out worlds, and Daddy-O raps out a counterpoint to the sax, a sudden syncopation as the real gone chick offsets, emphasizes his poem's beat. The Starbucks manager doesn't know what to make of the performance. He calls corporate, asks if they've scheduled something. Corporate thinks another of their pigeons gone. Crazy, man. As he relates the ghostly sound of bongos, the cigarette smoke haze, the junkies shooting up in the ladies' room, Corporate 8 is wondering about this sudden plague of square minions in round holes going into the city lights at the bitter end of their tunnels. Daddy-O and the trio are calling back reality, drawing out the harsh clown colors beneath Starbucks' uniform earth tones. The pseudo-bistro, stripped of its hip veneer, returns to form. Golden arches rise in the parking lot. Kitty tubes maze past the windows. And the best baristas of their generation are asking customers if they want that Happy Meal grande. Daddy-O and his army, maybe a little smug, scratch another line on the sax and head for their next engagement.
So what is the name of this one?
This one is Blame It on the Moon. Well, this is based on a painting by John Strom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And they had one of those extra phases events over at the Gallery of Ten Oaks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so this was the one I did for that. Blame It on the Moon. Crossing the street to the Blue Moon Bar, the snow ruts would be flagged by the portion of your brain temporarily in charge. You'd step carefully, almost soberly over them. Perhaps once across, throw a hand out to a parked snow-frosted car before traversing the white silence to the door. These are the things you'd notice looking for another drink in the twilight. An artist might show what your need and familiarity have erased. The illumination of the street lamp, the other parked cars, the bar sign beneath the slate gray sky might point out how, but for the vehicle style and the price of steak dinners, it could be a scene from the 30s. The unseen drivers and drinkers inside, long gone, too ephemeral to be recorded. Drink deep. No one will remember. And it's cold outside.
Yeah, I like that one. The Blue Moon. I can just picture, I can see the scene in my mind,
Oh,
downtown McMinnville.
Yeah. And his painting, John Strom's painting, just really captured it.
Yeah.
It just had that winter feel, and it was great. Good picture.
I don't think this one's.
Now this next one, I don't think I brought this time. I had read it when we practiced last time, but it was a while back. It's a long one called After the Lecture on the End of American Exceptionalism. So,
This is a poem you wrote?
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, all the ones I've got are the ones I wrote. After the lecture on the end of American exceptionalism, exit the building, old door, frosted glass, chill night air. Beyond the invasive campus corner Starbucks, burst of drum beats and guitar, car and home or live music. A quick melodious riff decides. Double doors open to the cold, big square comfy chairs and sofas line the walls, some empty, some with clusters of girls. The band's warming up. Sound guys fiddle with dials, levers, cables, wires. A comfortable looking chair with only a slightly obstructed view draws me in. The kids are chatting, mingling, and the warm-up and setup of the sound takes so long I consider asking the girl 2 girls down if the band is actually going to play. I don't. No sense in alarming the local fauna. I probably look like their grandfathers, or maybe the perv that got arrested by their elementary school. Definitely out of place. Better not to draw attention. The music starts, beat, tempo, vocals, all good and loud. So loud I put in earbuds to preserve my hearing. But then I can't understand the words, so I throw caution into the barrage from the tower speakers and enjoy. I had forgotten music so loud your body pulses with it, forgotten the vibration in the spine when the foot pedal hammer slams into the big drum. The pack of kids standing in a neat double row about 15 feet from the band are swaying with the rhythm, and there's the occasional outburst of pure physical joy. So pure it makes me want to jump up and dance. But I don't. Instead, I do a demure impression of J. Alfred Prufrock tapping his toes. I button my shirt against the chill from the open doors, place my hands under my legs, press up against the faux leather, not nearly as good for warmth as the woven cushion below. And finally, about 3 songs later, I take off the hairband, unleash my ponytail. White hair spills out. Although my hair is down and 2 girls join the kids in the front and are dancing, as if infused with music, and dancing was the core of life, and my body says yes, but no. An outsider, an out-ager, I do not rise. My feet, undeterred, mirror the music, absorb the joy, keep the beat. The set continues. Students ebb and flow. A subdued quartet of girls wander in through the open doors, stand by the wall next to me. They listen as if unsure about the group consensus, and one focuses on her phone, intent on whatever types. Some waits, some types again, and I want to tell her, be here now, listen to this music, stay in the moment, but I don't. Maybe it's not just her generation's electronic absorption. Maybe it's actually something emotionally important, and I don't want to startle her, as in, some creepy old guy said. So I follow my unstated advice, focus again on the really good country rock originals and covers, and keep sitting on my hands. I wonder at the lack of visible CDs, wonder if college bands even sell CDs anymore. Maybe they just give out URLs where you buy downloads. But just before the last song in the set, the singer announces they've got CDs to sell. And afterward, I check my wallet, figure I can afford $10, which turns out to be what they're charging. So I give the singer my money, say really enjoyed it, and take my new treasure out into the cold.
Cool. That's a real life story?
Yeah, that happened at Linfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, don't remember the name of the group that was playing, but it was pretty good.
Who would? It wouldn't
Yeah.
mean anything to me either. Unless it was like Martha and the Vandellas.
So do you want to end? Let me do a couple, and then you
And
can
then I'll
do
do
the last one.
Sure, that works.
All right.
I think I
Want
got
to
a
swap
couple.
chairs here, or?
No. You can just
This
pull
one?
that
Okay.
back over.
All right.
I'm going to read. I got 3.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is there's a poetry porch. There's a poetry porch here in McMinnville, actually just a few blocks from here. It's got one of those little libraries, and then it's got a porch next to it with poems. People can walk by and stick up poems. And this is a poem that I found at that little library and at the Poetry Post. And it's written by Elsie Mueller, and it's called What the Dog Perhaps Hears. If an inaudible whistle blown between our lips can send him home to us, then silence is perhaps the sound of spiders breathing and roots mining the earth. It may be asparagus heaving headfirst into the light, and the long brown sound of cracked cups when it happens. We would like to ask the dog if there is a continuous whir because a child in the house keeps growing. If the snake really stretches full length without a click, and the sun breaks through the clouds without a decibel of effort. Whether in autumn, when the trees dry up their wells, there isn't a shudder too high for us to hear. What it's like up there above the shut-off level of our simple ears. For us, there is no birth cry. A newborn bird is suddenly here. The egg broken, the nest alive, and we heard nothing when the world changed. I really like that poem. Here's another one. Our culture is full of violence, war, images of war. And we forget that those images can affect people. I had a friend by the name of Wallace Thompson back in the 60s. I'm old. And people got drafted back then and went to Vietnam. And, you know, I was lucky. I went into the Army and got out in '64 just as Vietnam was getting more deadly. But my friend Wallace Thompson wasn't so lucky, and he went to Vietnam. And Wallace was a poet before he left, and he's a poet after he came back. And he categorizes his poems as BV and AV, that is B before Vietnam and after Vietnam. So this is a poem called Owl Music, and it's a poem after Vietnam. And he told me that it's about what happens to human nature and how we think maybe we've overcome what a certain level of our lust is about, and it's really hard to shake. Owl Music. Do not wait for the moon, it is already high in the night sky. I float up to meet you on a broken branch of the tall oak. We talk to each other in soft tones, back and forth, a bittersweet refrain, a lament, an enchantment, calling movement, calling blood. On its own search, we see it turn towards our song. We lift into the air lightly. Our hearts feel the surge of that ancient melody. Silent from above, your talons sink deep. The startled scream, the second sound, the muffled exhale of the last moment. Your screech raises through the dark, the sharp-edged music of death and desire. After we've eaten, we are silent into the dawn. That's called Owl Music.
Yeah.
And I'll do one more.
All right.
And this one is actually a song, and it's a love song. I like love songs. This was written in 1934 by band leader Ray Noble in England in 1934, in the middle of the Depression. And it came to America, and it's been recorded by lots and lots and lots and lots of jazz artists. The lyrics I like a lot were sung by Nancy Wilson in her album Yesterday's Love. And she added a stanza. And the name of this song is Just the Thought of You. I don't need your photograph to keep by my bed. Your picture is always in my head. I don't need your portrait, dear, to call you to mind for sleeping or waking, dear. I find the very thought of you, and I forget to do the very little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream. I'm happy as a king. And foolish though it may seem to me that everything, the mere idea of you, the longing I hear for you, I'll never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes in the stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love.
Very good.
Excellent.
Cool.
Okay,
All right, I got one more here.
one more, and then let's play some music at the end to just,
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right.
Sounds good.
This one's called The First Day of Autumn, and this was published in a publication that's printed in Paris and England. So, let's see. The first day of autumn came in cool and overcast. Good for stopping the 20% controlled fire at nearby Hag Lake. I like cool weather, like being shielded by gray clouds from harsh light. I'm happy that people can return to still standing homes, that livestock and wild animals will live, that the forest stretching all the miles from the lake to my back pasture will be safe, at least for now. But a very small part of me is tired of the repetitious consistency, repetitious consistency, repetitious consistency, repetitious consistency, repetitious consistency, repetitious consistency of Monday to Sunday, and yearns for a blaze that burns everything away and leaves me standing, phoenix-like, amidst the ashes of calendars and clocks. Part of me understands the evangelical longing for an apocalypse now.
okay, let's do a couple, just play a little bit here.
All right, sounds good.
Give them a little closing.
Yeah. A little more action on the drum.
A little more action?
I need to hear it.
Oh, okay. What do you think? We done? I don't know. You guys want to do one just
Yeah,
with
I think
yourself
as
without
long
me
as
doing
they
the
think we're
podcast?
done, if
No,
they got
no,
enough, they got enough.
They got
probably.
enough? Probably. Okay, sounds good.
Let's go lunch.
Oh.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could use a bite too.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Writing Life. I'm Stephen W. Long, and I hope to see you next time.
What do you think? We done?
I don't know. You guys want to do one
Yeah,
just
I
with
think
yourself
as
without
long
me
as
doing
they
the
think we're
podcast?
done, if they got enough, they got enough.
They
Probably.
got enough? Probably. Okay, sounds good.
Let's go lunch.
Oh.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could use a bite too.